In this video, we will explore some of these options which are there in Azure Release Pipeline. Okay. Um, Currently, I'm in my Azure this release pipeline. In here, if you see, we have these two different sections in which this is artifacts and the stages. And in this artifact section, we get the release of our build pipeline, and this is set for continuous deployment. Okay, in here we have these two stages, dev and prod. Okay, and these options will help us to control the flow of deployment from dev to prod, from dev test to prod, different stages. Okay, so they are available in these sections, like in here, pre-deployment conditions, we have triggers, we have approvals, we have gates, and deployment queue settings. So these are pre-deployment conditions. Similarly, we have like post-deployment conditions also. Same approvals, gates, and auto deploy trigger. So we'll see this. So from when the dev stage is completed successfully, and if we want to trigger this next stage immediately, then we select this after stage here, that is dev. Okay, and this is the immediate trigger, but if we want to schedule, we can schedule also using this option, and we can set it on the pull request as well. These are the triggers, like how we want to trigger these individual stages. In here, if you see, this trigger is on after release, not after stage, because we do not have any stages here. So after release, once this release is triggered, this stage will be immediately triggered. Okay, and when it, so this is triggers, and when it comes to approvals, we can enable this approval, and we can set some approvers here, right? Example, I have set my name here, and we can set the timeout period also, like as of now it is 3 days. So if we do not get approval within 3 days, then this gate will be timed out, and the complete stage will be cancelled. When it comes to gates, gates will help us to do some pre-validation, pre-checks before doing the deployments. Like if we want to check some policies against the things which we are deploying, whether they are compliant or not. And if we want to run some Azure functions, some task in Azure functions, then we can do that. We can invoke REST monitoring alerts, like if we are monitoring something, some environment, then we can check whether we have some alerts or not. And query work items, and this one is, let's say if the sprint is going on, and if we are deploying something in sprint, let's say sprint 1, and using this work item queries, we can check, let's say if there are some issues or exist or not. For example, I can show this one. I have this query called issues. In this one, we are mentioning, like we are selecting work item as issue, and state as doing, right? And if I go to work items, and if I create issues, issue underscore 1, and if I set it to doing, and issue number 2, I'll mark this as doing. Okay, now if I run this query, right, we got these two issues now. Now we can use this query in our gates to check whether we have any issues or not. So if this upper threshold 0 means we want to pass this gate if we do not have any issues. Okay, and when it comes to evaluation options, here we are saying to re-evaluate this gate for every 5 minutes until we get the success. So if for every 5 minutes, if it if it fails, it keep on trying like up to 15 minutes as per this configuration. Okay, and we want to check for approval on successful gates. Okay, we can do it before as well. So these are the gates. Now when it comes to deployment queue, okay, so this is our release pipeline. Let me save this one for now. Okay, so if you see this release pipeline, here we have multiple instances of this release pipeline. Okay, now let's say uh, if multiple instances gets triggered for so many releases, then we can do one thing, like either we can cancel all the these previous, let's say all are running and all are in queue. What we can do is we can cancel all these and run only the latest release pipeline, also release instance. Okay, or we can let them run in a sequential manner, like let it this complete this and this. So using the deployment queue section queue option, we can decide that whether we want to deploy latest and cancel others, and or we want to deploy all in a sequence. Okay, this is that. And when it comes to post deployment, in post deployment also we can check get some approvals, and we can add some post deployment you know validations using this. And when it comes to auto deploy trigger, okay, with this option, let's say if this is a production stage, and if this production stage fails, okay, with the current deployment, then what action we want to do? We want to redeploy the last successful deployment. Okay, if the current deployment fails, we don't want to break the prod environment, but we want to redeploy the last successful version. Okay, so using these gates and all these options, we can control the flow of our release pipeline from one stage to other stage, right? So that's it for this video. Thank you for your time. See you in next video.